Welcome to the video. Today we're looking at the SU100M1, the Tier 7 tank destroyer for the Russians that leads on to the Object 268 V4. This is one of the very few Tier 7 tank lines I actually have to grind through at this point in the game. I've done most of my grinds up until about Tier 9. I have quite a lot of Tier 10s unlocked at this point, but I only have 3 Tier 7 grinds left to do in the form of the SU100M1, the G-Re, and the T-34-2 GFT. I think that's its name. The Tier 7 changed tank destroyer pretty much. The SU100M1 and the G-Re I've finished the stock grinds on, so the last stock grind I have to do for a Tier 7 is actually the Chinese Tier 7 tank destroyer. But I have a funny feeling that the grinds for the G-Re and this thing here will probably take longer than the Chinese Tier 7 tank destroyer, because that thing there at least has a fairly high alpha damage gun, and it's a bit more sort of my playstyle, I would say. Like it just seems to be a bit more my playstyle just by looking at what it's able to do. I mean, it basically has the 122mm gun from something like an SU152, I believe a slightly slower rate of fire, but it has 190 penetration instead of having about 175. Like, I mean, this thing here's penetration is 212, 250 alpha damage. Actually 212, that's higher than I thought it was. I thought it was 190. Okay, this thing may not be too bad. Shit. I thought this thing had the T-44's gun, but I really should have checked that beforehand. I might be thinking of the old version of this thing, the SU100M1, before the introduction of the 268 V4, back when the Object 263 was the top tank of this line. I will say though, I'm having trouble like getting over my instincts when it comes to this vehicle, because my instincts are always just to go to a bush in the back of the map and try to avoid getting spotted at all costs. But this thing here nowadays actually has fairly solid armour, so it's actually able to kind of play at the front a lot more than you would really expect, because weirdly this thing has better armour overall than the Tier 8 in this line. So it's not even just better armour tier for tier, it's flat out better armour than the Tier 8. Which is hilarious. Like, I don't know how that made it through testing, like where the Tier 7 has better armour than the Tier 8. I guess this thing is maybe like a teaser for the 268 V4, just so you get a taste of what it's like. That's my assumption, that's the only thing I can think of, but yeah, otherwise that makes no sense whatsoever. But I'm pretty much just going forward here just to see what vehicles are actually coming forward, because I would imagine, actually no, the Progeto's on the other flank. I was actually going to guess he would be on this flank, but he's not, interestingly. Now, the one problem I'm going to have here is my gun's accuracy is not good. But hopefully we'll be able to kill off this P-43 fairly quickly. Also, my armour, because it is fairly tough, I should be able to hold these guys back fairly well. Although, if multiple of them rush me at once, that will kill me fairly quickly, as you would expect. Like, hopefully I'll be able to just sort of just dump shots into these guys just as time goes by. Kind of hope the AMD 178B doesn't try to come around behind me, like, that's the one thing I am kind of worried about. The rest of these guys, like, because they're going to be in front of me, I can kind of handle, but the guys behind me are a bit trickier. I'm deliberately going to try and go for more sort of critical zones on tanks, if I possibly can, because if I can hit critical zones, that weakens their tanks and makes them a bit trickier to do damage to me in. But I am being fairly aggressive here, considering I'm a lone Tier 7. And the Panther doesn't seem to want to come back out, which is interesting, because he used his repair kit, and I shot him roughly where his ammo rack would be, so I have a funny feeling I ammo racked him with that previous shot. And if that's true, that means he would probably be due to come back out again in around about 11.5 minutes. Just going by my estimation. But that Firefly VC is taking quite a lot of damage. Up, and there's the Panther. I think I put another shot directly where I had before. Now, hopefully my backup in the form of that Scorpion G will help me out a little bit here. But this tank here is fairly ridiculous, like, just armor wise for its tier. If you can hide the lower front plate, as far as I understand it, this thing's practically unkillable at its tier unless you're firing gold, which that Super Hellcat actually is. That's fairly annoying actually. Because if he wasn't firing gold, he wouldn't be able to do much to me at all. But I think I've actually held these guys off long enough that hopefully when my teammates decide to come forward a bit further, we'll be able to effectively deal with them. And there's the Super Hellcat. So we'll stick one more shot in that Super Hellcat, and then hopefully that Leo comes forward to try and help me out with that Super Hellcat. Because he can take a hit easily from the Super Hellcat, whereas he's just firing gold at me. And I tried to auto-aim onto that guy, but I missed my mark. But I did manage to do 1800 damage, which is double the health of this thing. Which is decent in my opinion, but probably could have done better overall there. But I think that Leo might not have realised that there was a tank behind him. Because he kept like moving forward after he got that shot. After he got that kill on the Super Hellcat, sorry. And yep, there's Leo getting the kill there, nice. Okay. So this game is looking to be fairly good for us. I mean, they've lost both their tier 8s. Oh, well, tier 8 tanks I should say. And we have now got a 4 tank advantage over them. So they've only got an IS, an SU100 and then 2 artilleries remaining. So we should have this pretty much in the bag at this point. So this tank is fairly strong these days, and it's taken a while for me to get that into my head. Because it can actually do a lot of damage, and it is fairly tanky. Because it's armour, and this is whenever I was told about this, like a guy called War9 told me about this. This thing's this thing's casement armour is effectively as good as a Jagdtiger's. Bear in mind, tier 7. Tier 7 tank destroyer. Also, based on a medium tank. Yeah, this thing is fairly nutty. This, just like to put it bluntly, like this thing just does not really make that much sense in like the form that it's in the game right now. It's pretty insane. I'm gonna try another game in this thing here just to see how it goes. Because if I get into a top tier game, a not tier 8 game, that still works. But if I get into a top tier game in this thing here is pretty much a wrecking ball. I really should have remembered this thing basically was a wrecking ball, because I'm trying to think what it was. Like, I think I remember seeing a video from like Fosh. Like, I feel like it was like a year ago. Like it was around the time when the 268 V4 originally came out, and he made a video on this thing. Like it was like some sort of like guide for a mission. I don't think it was high caliber. I think it was something else, but it really showed just the raw, just like strength of this vehicle. But I just never got around to playing it until recently. So I'm probably going to take this thing over towards that side there, just because going to the heavy tank flank, I don't know, I just don't like the idea of facing off against the 53 TP, and the Brigido is going to be a lot easier to target to fight, assuming he goes this direction. But considering the last game the Brigido went towards the city, who knows whereabouts that guy's going to head to. It seems like we have a decent number of vehicles heading over this direction. MXCDS seems to be coming over this direction as well. But you can see this thing's mobility. Like I'm keeping up with an M46KR. Now the M46KR is not the best like tank in the game anymore. Like I actually used to really like that thing. That was actually one of my favorite tier premiums for quite a long time. But sadly just power creep kind of happened, and it's never really recovered because Wargame never really touched it after it got power creep to hell. It's kind of sad because I actually genuinely think it's one of the nicer looking sort of skinned vehicles, because it does have like that like sort of tiger pattern on it, which is interesting looking. As far as I'm aware, like it is based off of a real vehicle as well that did actually have that sort of paint scheme on it. So, I should have guessed that guy would probably head over here, but that guy is going to be that guy's going to be a real pain in the ass to deal with. That's one of the toughest tier 8 tank destroyers to deal with in the game. And yeah, unfortunately because my lower front plate's exposed, it's going to make this match a wee bit trickier than the last one. His first shot totally whiffed. Okay, so let's sort of try to side scrape in a tank destroyer. This is gonna feel weird. Actually, the gun arc's not bad on this thing. It's actually wider than I thought it was. I thought this thing had a really narrow gun arc, but that gun arc's not too bad actually. What about the M46? The M46 is... I thought he was going to leave there and just like piss off and leave me to die, but thankfully he didn't do that. I'm actually going to just kind of head down here and see if I can catch this WZ off guard. Unfortunately my gun depression is absolutely horrific. But hopefully other people are able to get shots into this guy. Come on, gun depression, Jesus. Oh my god, 4 degrees gun depression is absolutely horrific. So I managed to survive that by some miracle. I'm not entirely sure how, but yeah, like that really showcases just how bad 4 degrees gun depression is. I'm so used to being able to like not really have to worry about gun depression for the most part, but in that case there, that was just a brutal like example of just how bad the gun depression is on this vehicle and how much it kind of screws you over in that sort of position in particular. I really wish that shot had gone where I was aiming. Can you push on these guys now? Feels weird, but I have to push on these guys because it's T29 to my right. And it feels so weird to see like 2 guys like sort of hiding from a tier 7 tank destroyer. But yeah, this is kind of how things go whenever you're playing this vehicle. Like you can kind of push on people you don't really expect to be able to. And that is the IS-2 dealt with. Now it's just the Leo alive. I bounced off a Leo's turret, are you kidding me? Okay, Leo bounced a shot. Okay, wow, I should not be alive right now, but Jesus, that I think I stopped commentating there for a second because I was just like holding my breath just seeing what would happen there. Holy shit. But that's a pretty good example of just like this thing's armor, because I think any other tier 7 tank destroyer that attempted that would have been dead in that situation. So that was just like that was nuts. Like the fact I survived that there against a medium and a heavy, and also the fact I'm still alive in this game is bonkers. Also got 1400 spotting damage and I did 850 damage myself. That's not that impressive, but I think that was a fairly good example of like how good this tank can actually be. I didn't realize this thing could actually side scrape. Like it literally can side scrape. That's the weirdest thing about it. But yeah, I'm not surprised I got a Spartan in that game, considering I got hit. Well, I was only 1 hit off a steel wall. If I had got hit one more time, we would have got a steel wall in that match. And even though I didn't do that much damage, only 850, that Spartan damage made up for it. So yeah, this tank is a lot more versatile than you really expect it to be. Like I'm going to say, like I'm genuinely surprised at how tanky this vehicle is. Like this vehicle is. I really wish I had never played the old one, because then I would be able to adapt to this thing far quicker. But I still have the gut feelings that I have to like sort of hide in the background and try and snipe at people. And this thing was awful at that in the past, by the way. This thing was crap at that. It sucked because it had like, I think it was 181 pen or something, and you had to snipe at long range. You could not get the close range. If you did, you were just decimated in like a second. Like this thing was the most hated tier 7 tank destroyer in the game for me, because it didn't have gun depression, it didn't have a turret, it didn't have any real gun traverse to really use. Its gun was crap and didn't hit anything, which is weird for a Russian, and its rate of fire didn't feel that good either. So it was pretty much just one of the worst tier 7 tank destroyers. But now it has penetration, it has armour, it still has the crappy gun depression, but the gun actually feels fairly usable now. They changed this thing so much, and I completely forgot that they even did that until recently when I was talking about it with War 9. So yeah, this thing here is mental, and I'm preparing myself for the I'm preparing myself for the disappointment of this thing, because I mean, look at this. You get 175 pen stock gun after having a 212 pen gun with the same alpha damage. And it's got the same rate of fire as the SU. I don't get it. Like, why is this gun even, like, which gun is it? Why is this gun even a thing? Get rid of this gun completely and replace it with that one. Like, replace one of them. I don't care which. Just get rid of one of them and replace it with that one. Because it doesn't need to have 3 individual upgrades for the gun. This is one of the dumbest things about this tank. I mean, they literally went out of their way to fix this on the ISU152. But on this tank here, they left it the same way. I mean, this thing used to have like 5 guns. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Like, it had I think 2 122s. Or no, actually, I think it was 3 122s. Because it had both of these 122s. And then it had this one. Then it had the big upgraded 152. So it had 5 different gun options in the past. And thankfully they eventually learned that was dumb and got rid of that. But for some reason, for some unknown reason to me, they left it the same on this thing. I don't know why they didn't remove, at least make one of the guns like a branch off point so you don't have to unlock all of them. Like, I would still unlock all of them, but it just seems so just dumb to me, the fact that they've done this on this tank.